Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this particular video, we are going to discuss about a very important topic from business ethics, and that is called ethical issues in marketing. Let's talk about that. The first question is, what is ethical marketing? So there are certain things which are very important. If you are marketing any product or service, you must consider these points. Then only you can call yourself as an ethical marketer. The first thing is alignment and moral principles. So every company has to have some ethical moral principles. Whenever you are marketing a product or services, you have to follow certain moral values or principles which most of the company do frame whenever they got incorporated, or there are certain basic values which the founders and the co-founders of the companies has, and that's why they always follow these kind of market. Next important thing is adherence to the social values. So we need to understand, we always operate in society, right? There are certain society expectations and there are certain society norms which every company must follow or must reflect in their products as well. We should not hurt the sentiments of society or people living in around us. Next is compliance with the legal standards. So there are, whenever we are operating in any country, there is always some legal issues, legal compliances, legal regulations. We should always follow them. We should never breach them, right? Otherwise what happens that most of the time we will get caught over a period of time, and then that will become a bigger problem for any company, and that will hurt your reputation as well. Promotion of transparency, very important that all the information which a consumer must have for a particular product or service, it should be clearly written on your product, or it should be clearly mentioned into your packaging, so that there should be a complete transparency whatever you are marketing to the people. And last but not the least is emphasizing on honesty. So always do not try to go with misleading advertisement, do not play it like a gimmick, do not play like a marketing tactic. Try to always avoid those deceptive strategies and follow all the above points. That will help you to become an ethical marketer. So what are the various issues which we are going to face in this? The first one is AI and automation. So always try to avoid discrimination, because that creates a lot of biasness. So we always, whenever we are creating, now once AI coming into picture, whenever we are creating any kind of AI algorithm, we should always have a very neutral approach, rather than we should have some biasness in our algorithms that can affect our whole complete market strategy. We must foster fairness in our organization. That means we should always give equal opportunities for all the people working with us, and make sure that they work in the right direction with the ethical code of conduct. Transparency and accountability. By transparent about AI means that you should always look into, what the term is very famous these days, is called responsible AI, right? So responsible AI means that whatever you are doing, whatever information you are providing to the people, you must be transparent. You must provide the right information, rather than only giving the one side of the information, and the other side of the information is completely hidden. Always try to protect the privacy. That's very important, because now so much data is available. Every customer is putting up so much data, credit card information, there's so much personal data also available on internet, and that's the reason why, if you are collecting any kind of those data, you must have some privacy clauses. It must not be accessed by everyone, so that you can protect the privacy of your customers as well. Human oversight. Maintain human oversight to address the unintended consequences with like misinformation. So never try to give misinformation about your product or service to your customers, so that because customers generally do make speculation based on whatever information you are providing to them. So it is always better that you provide them the right information, so that they can work in they can buy the product by making the right judgment about it. Next important thing is cultural sensitivity. So what is this cultural sensitivity? So you should always understand the cultural differences. Look, if you are operating in America, or if you are operating in Canada, or if you are operating in Asian countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, they all these countries, they differ in their culture, their values, belief, and us customs. So it is very important that you value and respect each and every culture, and you try to make sure that nobody's sentiment should be hurted based on your product. Tailoring marketing strategies. Always, if you want to become a successful company, you should always align with the culture of the local country, wherever you, of the host country where you are operating. Try to customize your campaign, try to use the right color, try to use the right symbols, try to understand what is the local language, try to understand what is the local nuances of those culture. If you understand that, it becomes very easy to do business or to sell any product to your customers. Next is avoid stereotypes and appropriation. As I told you that if you are working in a culture which is a very cultural sensitive country, for example India, so in that situation, try to avoid any kind of stereotype, because that really hurt the audience. So stereotype means that you are judging the whole community based on a particular instance or particular situation. We should not be doing it. Next is commitment to diversity and inclusion. So it is very important that your commitment should always be that you want to diversify, you want to have a multicultural system, you are open to understand the local language also, local culture also. That will give you a good understanding about the market in which you are operating. Third is data ethics, which is very important these days. So marketers should openly communicate with consumer about the data collected and how it is being used. This is very important. Since marketers are collecting a lot of information, you should clearly let your customers know that what kind of data you are collecting and how you are going to use it. That's also very important. So it's very important that you always have a transparent approach in this. Next is informed consent. Always take consent. Whenever you're using somebody's data, you must take consent from people that, okay, are you willing to subscribe it, or are you willing to share this information? Just ask for it. If the customer gives you the consent, then only go ahead. Otherwise, do not use that. That is not responsible ethical marketing. Opt-out options. Yes, this is very important. If let's say today a consumer agreed to something, but later on he realized that that is not feasible or beneficial for them, so there must be an option of opt-out also, that I don't want to subscribe for something, right? So there must be an opt-out option that, hey, I want to unsubscribe this, so that they can control their own data. Next important is environmental sustainability. So environmental sustainability means that marketers should always adopt those practices and minimize all the negative impacts on the activities on the planet. So we all understand that what are the different kind of environmental concerns these days: climatic change happening, global warming happening. So that's very important that marketer must adopt those practices which has a positive impact on planet, rather than using those practices which are having a negative impact on the planet. Carbon emission reduction. If you're one of those companies who produces, who have a manufacturing outlet, who have factories, so you must control your carbon emission. You try to go with more green practices. Always try to include your supplier and retailer also, make them also inform about the benefits of doing it. That will help in the longer run. Promotion of eco-friendly products. Try to make sure that you use eco-friendly product in your organization. At the same time, try to build those products which can be eco-friendly, right? We should not be harming environment. Responsible consumption. Encourage responsible consumption habits also. Sometimes if you are making any product which might be little dangerous to the environment, it is very important, or as a very marketer, it is a responsibility that you can inform consumer that this can harm the environment in this way, so that they can learn about it and then they can follow it. Next is fair pricing, very important again. Avoid discrimination. So market should always be having so they should refrain from pricing practices that discriminate based on race or gender. Always try to follow a uniform pricing policy, which really helps, right? Rather than discriminating it from here and there. Reasonable and justifiable. Do not set a price which is like completely unreasonable. Always set up a competitive price. Always set up a reasonable price, justifiable price, depending upon the value which you are providing to customers, because customer always pay price for the value. No exploitation. Make sure that your pricing strategy do not have exploit vulnerable or disadvantaged individuals. So it's very important that your pricing strategy is designed in such a way that nobody is being harmed from it. Like there should be a equality in it. Always have a transparent communication. Whenever you are changing the prices, or when you are whatever price you are charging from customer, make sure that you have mention it properly on the packaging, and you are also highlighting in your advertisement. Make sure that consumer is clearly informed about what pricing you are. It should be known to the people. And use as avoiding deceptive pricing techniques. So a lot of companies, what they do, they always use some misleading pricing strategies. They will say you something and then they will charge you something. That will not the right way. So always try to have a uniform policy. What you say is what you do in pricing. Next is influencer marketing. These days influencer marketing is getting famous. A lot of influencers, social media influencers, they are doing marketing for other companies. It's very important that you identify the right influencer whose brand values or your target audience must match and must be genuine, rather than just like betting companies who are hiring anyone or to promote something, right? So we should always hire those companies which are genuine, or you should always hire those influencers whose goals are aligned with your brand. There must be transparency. That means influencer must clearly and prominently disclose all the information about the partnership, whatever the partnership. A lot of YouTube content creators do inform us that this is a sponsored video. That is not a bad thing. That is always we explain that this is a sponsored video. Always have a responsible messaging. Try to understand that whatever you will say, a lot of your followers will follow. So you must advertise only those brands in which you believe, and always you need to understand that those brands should not be harming anyone. So you must follow that practice, which is very important. Avoid deception. Again, as an influencer, you must be transparent. You try to build a good relationship with your content, with your user, as well as at the same time try to maintain the trust of the audience as well, because at the end of the day, they are the one who follow you and trust you. So it's very important that you provide them the right information, and then only they will be able to get aligned with it. Next, which is very very important, is your misleading advertisements. So what is misleading advertisement? That always avoid false claims. Always claim is what you are exactly going to offer in your product or service, rather than just exaggerating things for consumers, which you are not, you are committing something which you are not going to fulfill it, right? So it's never a good idea. Always do a good research and do fact checking before you share it with any information with your consumers, and you always test your product in the right way, so that you can inform that if you are saying that this will last for this much hours or this much years or this much is the mileage of that bike, it should be there, right? Or at least close to that. Use unambiguous language. Try to have a clear language of communication. That means your features, your benefits, everything must be explained in the right way. Not use misleading or unambiguous language which can confuse or which can add as a marketing trick. Provide sufficient disclosure. So always try to provide the right amount of disclosure in your packaging, in your advertisements, so that people should understand. For example, whenever we see the advertisement of a mutual fund, they always say that this is subject to market risk. So it is very important that if people are investing into it, they must understand that there are certain negative points which are associated with it. Always provide regular review and updates. So always keep an eye on your advertising material, whatever you are publishing in among consumer. It is very important that they understand what you are selling, and you always understand what how your advertising is being presented in front of consumer and how they are taking it. So this was all about your marketing ethics. I hope you understand all these 7 points are very very important. So if you are a marketer and you are selling products or service to a consumer, make sure that you follow all these 7 points so that you can be called as an ethical marketer. For more content, you can follow me on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. We'll be meeting in the next video.